Hi, this is Sweet June. How's everybody doing today? Today is Thursday, May 28th. Um, I know that you guys have heard about um, George Floyd. Um, it's been all over the news. It's everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, it's national news everywhere. So I know you guys have heard about this man in Minnesota. His name was George Floyd. Um, the police he uh, apparently got arrested for writing a bad check or something like that in a store. The police was called on him for writing a bad check or something like that, forgery or something to that effect. Allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly. And the cops were called and they called themselves trying to arrest him. And the arresting officer had his foot on his neck for 9 whole minutes. And while the officer had his foot on his neck, he's he's begging and pleading with the officers, "I can't breathe. My body hurts." He was calling for his mama. That's the part that made me tear up when he started calling for his mama. That's what made me tear up. He was calling for his mama. He said his body hurt. He said everything hurt. He kept saying he couldn't breathe. He was pleading with these officers. They had his foot there. He had his foot on this man's neck for 9 whole minutes while this man laid on the ground and he pleaded with them to let him go. He couldn't breathe and he was hurting. He was suffering. And this police officer had his foot on this man's neck for 9 minutes, and while he's sitting up there with his hand in his pocket with a smug look on his face. And then when the ambulance pulls up, he still wouldn't let up. And he was saying he couldn't breathe and stuff. And then he passed out or died. And then the ambulance pulled up and took his pulse, and he still wouldn't let up off his neck. He still had his leg on the man's neck. Meanwhile, the people that was filming with their cell phones was steady telling the officers, you know, it was a couple of people. It could have been like two or three people. That I know there was a black man, and I think there was another woman. I'm not sure she was Caucasian or of another race, but I'm not sure if it was a third person, but it was at least a couple of people there that was filming, and they were steady telling them, get off his neck. They were steady telling the officer to get off his neck. You're killing him. Get off his neck. The black man was steady set the black man that was filming was steady saying to get off his neck. You're killing him. They said it over and over and over. Because I watched the video a couple times and they said it over and over and over. They kept saying over and over, get off his neck. You are killing him. He's dying. They pleaded with them officers. The black man kept saying, bro, get off his neck. Get off his neck. He kept saying it over and over and over. And then they tried to pepper spray or taser, not taser, but they tried to spray the people to keep them away, to try to keep them away so they wouldn't try to help. He's standing there with his foot on this man's neck, his leg on this man's neck, with this smug look on his face, with his hands in his pocket. Are you freaking serious? I'm sorry for saying freaking, but I'm outraged. I'm outraged at this. And the part that made me tear up, and he started calling for his mama. That was the part that made me want to cry. That made me tear up. He started calling for his mama. He was hurting. He was suffering. He died a painful death. He had to suffer. And this officer would not let up. He would not let up. And he kept saying, I can't breathe. He said, I'm hurting. And they wouldn't let up. He wouldn't get off his neck. Now, they had thank God the stores had cameras. The stores that was nearby, the businesses nearby had cameras. And because they were going to lie, they were going to tell a bold-faced lie. I think I heard something about they said the man, when he came up, he was sitting on top of the car. No, he wasn't. Now I watched the footage. I just got done watching the footage of the cameras that was on the businesses, and it tells the whole story. It didn't look like to me he was resisting arrest. It looked like he was talking to the officers and asking them why are you, he probably was like, why are you arresting me? Just like anybody else would ask the same question. I would ask the same questions. Like, why are you arresting me and stuff? It looked like he was talking to the officers. Well, anybody would do that. Like, why are you arresting me or whatever? You know what I mean? But it didn't look like he was resisting arrest. Like they tried to say it. They were going to tell a bold faced lie to try to sweep this under the carpet. Those cameras at those businesses, stores, tell the whole story. Thank God they had those cameras there. You know, I'm over this. I'm over this. But we just had the young man over in Mississippi that got killed by these two white guys. We heard about this. We heard about Breonna Taylor that got shot. They bust in her house for no reason at all, looking for somebody that wasn't even there, that was already in jail, I hear. They started shooting. This flood fled the place with bullets and killed her. Now I'm going to address that too. I'm talk about that too. And now this man loses his life. He did not, George Floyd did not deserve to die like this. He did not deserve to die like that. That was not okay for that officer to do what he did. And they say that the officers got fired. Well, they need to get more than fired. They need to be charged. They need to be charged with murder. It's not enough for them to get fired. They need to be charged with murder. They interviewed the sister, Good Morning America. They interviewed the sister, and the sister said, yeah, they need to be charged. And the other officer, I think he was Asian. I don't know what nationality he was, but he was Asian or something. He just stood there. He just stood there and let it happen. Didn't try to intervene. He stood there and let it happen. Steady trying to keep the crowds away. He just stood there and let it happen. I don't understand, how could you do a human being like this? How could you do an innocent human being like this? Now, I mean, what about whatever happened to due process? This is a violation of black people's rights. Whatever happened to due process? Whatever happened to um they had him in handcuffs, put him in the police car, take him down and process him, read him. Oh, you got him Mirandarize him. They got to read him his rights. Take him down to the police station and process him, and then go from there. And give the man the opportunity to go to court, to explain what happened, and see about, that's due process. And then get a fair trial. Notice I said fair trial. If it went that far or whatever, that's due process. Do we not have right to due process in this country? I mean, so you mean to tell me, if you stop a black person, whether it's a man or a woman, and you suspect that, you just because you suspect that they did something, you automatically make the decision in your mind that they deserve to die? Now, I'm not saying all police officers, but this has happened too much in this country. This is happening too much in this country. This is a shame. And it's a violation of our civil rights as black people. All black people should be very concerned about this. I am. Because you automatically assuming that somebody deserves to die just because you suspect that they did something? Just because they're black? This man didn't deserve to die like this. He didn't deserve to go out like this. That was not okay for that officer to do what he did. And they gonna just fire them? No, they need to be charged. And they were gonna sweep it under the carpet. They were gonna tell some bold face. They were gonna tell a bold faced lie to try to sweep it under the carpet. Thank God the people, the witnesses that were standing nearby were filming it, and thank God they got the footage from the businesses. And it tells the footages from the business tells the whole story about what happened. Thank God. So unfortunately, the brother lost his life, but you know what? He will get, hopefully he will get justice in his death. His family will get justice. This is not okay. And they also need to file a wrongful death lawsuit against the police, the station where they worked at. Yes, the city or whatever. They need to file a wrongful death lawsuit on top of that. Now, I know that's not going to bring him back, but it will, hey, it'll help, you know? It will help. I'm scared. I got black men in my family. I got my sons. I'm scared. I pray that this never happens to. I thought about that. I said, what if it had been one of my sons down there? What if that happened to one of my sons? You know, that can happen everywhere. You know, I just can't believe that they can treat black men like that and black women because it happens to black women too. Unfortunately, when it happens to black women, uh, we don't get the same amount of outrage and yeah, and I'm gonna address that. Actually a whole nother video. I'm gonna talk about that because what happened to Breonna Taylor, she didn't get the same amount of outrage as this case. But like I said, that's a whole nother video. I'm going to talk about that. But his family deserves justice. And then I found out he got two babies. He's got two babies. Now we're going to have some more black children growing up without a father now because they decided to, you know, enact their own justice over something that he allegedly, and I'm going to say allegedly because we don't know for sure. Because as black people, we get lied on every time. We get lied on every time. In every aspect of life. We get lied on all the time. People don't understand that. I've gotten lied on jobs. It said I did something or said something or I was acting a certain way and I wasn't. And because of that lie, it causes bad things to happen to us. People lie on us all the time. Black people get lied on all the time. And it's their word against ours. We are never believed. When we try to tell our side of the story, nobody believes us. They believe the white person, but they don't believe us. It happens all the time, more often than what people realize. They were going to kill this man and tell a bold-faced lie. It's a lot of crooked cops out there. It's some good cops out there, but it's a lot of crooked cops. I've heard of some cases of cops even planting evidence, planning stuff on black men. Yes. Where is the justice for black people? Every black person in America needs to be really concerned. Just because it hasn't happened in your family or it hasn't happened to you, every black person in America needs to be concerned about this. Because at the end of the day, it can happen to any of us. It could happen to any of us. This There's racist cops all over the country. There's racist cops here where I live. They profile black people here where I live. My two sons have been profiled several times where I live. And it's by the grace of God, the cops wasn't that cop, or the outcome would have been bad. See, we're guilty. We have to prove we're guilty until proven innocent. But is that how the law goes? I thought it was innocent until proven guilty. But when you're black, it's guilty until proven innocent. And then the cop decides to go ahead and have your go ahead and get the justice done right then and there. And it's like they don't even give us the dignity. They didn't even give this man the dignity and the right to have due process. They violated his civil rights. They violated his civil rights. So every black person in America needs to be alarmed by this. This is yes, and this has happened. And we all know that this has happened many, many, many times. This keeps happening over and over and over again. It never stops. It's really sad. It just breaks my heart. It's heartbreaking to watch it. But I think people need to watch it. I think people need to watch it, because the injustice that was done to this man was not okay. It's heartbreaking to watch. He kept saying he couldn't breathe. He kept saying he was hurting. He said, I can't breathe. You're hurting me. I'm hurting all over. He was calling for his mama. And the cop showed no mercy. He showed no mercy at all. Nobody deserves that. I don't care what color. Nobody deserves to die that way. I don't care what color, race, male, female, whatever. No human being deserves to die that way. No human being deserves to go out like that. I'm outraged. I'm over this. I'm tired of this happening. I'm tired of looking at this in the news over and over. It's not enough that we have to worry about this pandemic that's going on right now. We're losing a lot of black people to that. It's not enough that we have to worry about that. Now we got to sit up there and watch this stuff, all this stuff happening. Come on, you're not going to cut us no slack during a pandemic? Are you serious? We don't get cut no slack during a pandemic? I guess not. I guess not. This is a sad, sad system we living in. We really need God's kingdom to come. This is a sad system we living in. We really need to pray for the kingdom. Include that in your prayers, guys. We got to pray for the kingdom. Okay, hit me up in the comment section um, down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Stay tuned. I got some more interesting video topics coming up. Peace and love. This is Sweet Jill.